A guillotine is an apparatus designed for efficiently carrying out execution by beheading. The device consists of a tall upright frame with a weighted and angled blade suspended at the top. The condemned person is secured with stocks at the bottom of the frame, positioning the neck directly below the blade. The blade is then released, swiftly and forcefully decapitating the victim with a single clean pass, so that the head falls into a basket or other receptacle below. The guillotine is best known for its use in France, in particular during the French Revolution, where the revolution's supporters celebrated it as a people's avenger and the revolution's opponents vilified it as the pre-eminent symbol of the violence of the Reign of Terror. While the name guillotine dates from this period, similar devices had been in use elsewhere in Europe over several centuries. The display of severed heads had long been one of the most common ways European sovereigns exhibited their power to their subjects. The guillotine was invented with the specific intention of making capital punishment less painful in accordance with Enlightenment ideals, as previous methods of execution in France had proven to be substantially more painful and prone to error. After its adoption, the device remained France's standard method of judicial execution until the abolition of capital punishment in 1981. The last person to be executed in France was Amida Jandubi, who was guillotined on the 10th of September in 1977. This was also the last time that the government of a Western nation executed an individual by beheading. Jandubi was also the last person executed by guillotine by any government in the world. Now I'm going to tell 4 things you may not know about the guillotine. During the Reign of Terror, thousands of enemies of the French Revolution met their end by the guillotine's blade. Some members of the public initially complained that the machine was too quick and clinical, but before long the process had evolved into high entertainment. People came to the Place de la Révolution in droves to watch the guillotine do its grisly work, and the machine was honored in countless songs, jokes, and poems. Spectators could buy souvenirs, read a program listing the names of the victims, or even grab a quick bite to eat at a nearby restaurant called Cabaret de la Guillotine. Some people attended on a daily basis, most famously the Tricoteuses, a group of morbid women who supposedly sat beside the scaffold and knitted in between beheadings. The theater even extended to the condemned. Many people offered sarcastic quips or defiant last words before being executed, and others danced their way up the steps of the scaffold. Fascination with the guillotine waned at the end of the 18th century, but the public beheadings continued in France until 1939. Children often attended guillotine execution, and some may have even played with their own miniature guillotines at home. During the 1790s, A 2-foot tall replica blade and timbers was a popular toy in France. Kids used the fully operational guillotines to decapitate dolls or even small rodents, and some towns eventually banned them out of fear that they were a vicious influence. Novelty guillotines also found their way onto some upper-class dinner tables, where they were used as bread and vegetable slicers. From the very beginning of its use, speculation abounded over whether the heads of guillotines remained conscious after being cut off. The debate reached new heights in 1793, when an assistant executioner slapped the face of one of his victims' heads, and spectators claimed to see its cheeks flash in anger. Doctors later asked the condemned to try to blink or leave one eye open after their execution to prove they could still move, and others yelled the deceased's name or exposed their heads to candle flames and ammonia to see if they would react. In 1880, a doctor named Desi Delignery even had blood pumped into the head of guillotined child murderer to find out if it would come back to life and speak. The ghastly experiments were put to a stop in the 20th century, but studies on rats have since found that brain activity may continue for around 4 seconds after decapitation. The guillotine is most famously associated with revolutionary France, but it may have claimed just as many lives in Germany during the Third Reich. Adolf Hitler made the guillotine a state method of execution in the 1930s and ordered that 20 of the machines be placed in cities across Germany. According to Nazi records, the guillotine was eventually used to execute some 16,500 people between 1933 and 1945, many of them resistance fighters and political dissidents.